On November 9, 2025, the world's attention is on Belem, Brazil, as it hosts COP30. This city at the mouth of the Amazon River is more than a backdrop. It's a symbol of what's at stake. The Amazon, often called the lungs of the planet, reminds us why this fight matters. 10 years after the Paris Agreement, leaders gather to reflect on progress and confront the urgent work ahead. Over 50,000 people from governments, businesses, and communities worldwide are here, showing climate change is everyone's concern. The Amazon's vibrant life and indigenous communities highlight our deep connection to nature. This setting urges us to move beyond politics and focus on our responsibility to future generations. Climate change is no longer just a scientific debate, it's a global conversation, from farmers to youth activists. The diversity of voices in Belem is our strength, fueling new ideas and demanding real action. As we mark a decade since Paris, we must ask, have we done enough? Are we moving fast enough? The mood is a mix of hope and urgency. Progress has been made, but the science is clear. The planet is in trouble. Decisions here will shape the world for decades. COP30 is our chance to renew global cooperation and build a safer, more just future. To grasp COP30's importance, we look back to the Paris Agreement of 2015. Nearly 200 countries pledged to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees, aiming for 1.5 degrees. This was a collective commitment, not an imposed treaty, a signal of global unity. The Paris Agreement made every nation responsible, big or small, rich or poor. Each country created its own climate plan, reviewed and strengthened every 5 years. Despite political upheavals and global crises, the agreement endured, guiding action and investment. Its real power was hope, proof that cooperation can solve even the toughest problems. It sparked new thinking about energy, economies, and our relationship with the planet. The Paris Agreement was a promise to future generations, a pledge to leave a healthier, safer world. Now, at COP30, that promise is being tested. Since Paris, we've seen remarkable progress. Clean energy has boomed. Solar and wind are now the cheapest new power sources in many regions. Investment is surging, creating jobs and making energy systems more secure. Governments have passed new laws, set net zero targets, and turned climate goals into real action. Cities, food systems, and transportation are shifting towards sustainability. Businesses have stepped up. Thousands now aim for net zero, seeing climate action as both a risk and an opportunity. Corporate innovation is accelerating the low-carbon transition. These successes prove that clear goals unlock human ingenuity and resources. The foundation for a clean energy future is strong. These are not isolated wins. They signal a fundamental global shift. They show us that change is possible and point the way forward. Despite progress, the science is clear. We're not moving fast enough. Global carbon emissions are hitting new highs, even as clean energy grows. The gap between our actions and what's needed is the central challenge at COP30. Extreme weather, floods, heat waves, wildfires now strikes every continent, costing lives and livelihoods. The most vulnerable suffer most, despite contributing least to the problem. The Paris goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius is slipping away. The world has already warmed over 1.2 degrees. Every fraction of a degree matters. More warming means more suffering. The urgency is real, but despair isn't an option. This is a time for determination, not paralysis. The storms are gathering, but so is our capacity for action. COP30 must turn this reality into a catalyst for unprecedented change. The world is watching for a credible plan. Climate diplomacy has changed since Paris. The era of easy cooperation is over. Nations are now more focused on domestic priorities and competition. Rising geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainty make consensus harder. Trust, the foundation of diplomacy, has eroded and must be rebuilt. Climate action is now seen through the lens of economic competition, with countries racing for clean tech leadership. This competition can drive innovation, but also risks protectionism and division. We need practical, results-oriented cooperation, not just grand speeches. Building alliances around specific issues, like forests or clean energy, will be key. COP30's challenge is to find new ways to foster cooperation in a fragmented world. The path forward demands bridge building, not isolation. Brazil, as COP30 host, offers a new vision, a global mutirão, a collective effort for the planet. This indigenous concept calls for solidarity and shared responsibility. Brazil's global ethical stocktake puts justice and fairness at the center, amplifying voices of indigenous peoples and vulnerable communities. Negotiations are organized into 6 action tracks: energy, forests, agriculture, cities, social development, and finance, focused on real implementation. The goal moves beyond promises to practical progress. Brazil's approach is a fresh start, rebuilding trust and inclusivity. The mutirão is an invitation for all to join hands for a sustainable future. The role of major powers in climate diplomacy is shifting. The US is stepping back, creating a leadership vacuum and uncertainty. The EU, despite ambitious targets, faces internal divisions and diluted commitments. China, as the top emitter and clean tech leader, now holds unique influence. Its choices will shape global ambition. This new dynamic means leadership must come from many places: middle-income countries, businesses, cities, and regions. COP30's challenge is to build a distributed model of leadership. A coalition of the willing must drive ambition from all corners of the globe. The world needs new leaders to step up. 2 issues dominate COP30: climate finance and stronger national climate plans. Developing countries need financial support to cut emissions and adapt. Wealthy nations have fallen short on promises. Trust hinges on delivering real funding, not just pledges. A new global finance goal is on the table, mobilizing hundreds of billions by 2035. The challenge shifts trillions in private investment from fossil fuels to clean development. At the same time, countries must submit new, more ambitious climate plans. Current plans aren't enough for 1.5 degrees Celsius. Major emitters must step up. Finance and ambition are inseparable. Progress on one unlocks the other. Breaking this cycle is COP30's central diplomatic test. The world needs a breakthrough that unleashes both money and action. In Belem, at a turning point for the planet, the stakes are high, but so is the potential for hope. The last decade proves progress is possible. Now we must summon the will to act. The future is built by our choices. Chaos or sustainable prosperity is up to us. Every country, city, business, and individual has a role in this transformation. Brazil's call for a global mutirão reminds us we are stronger together. We must listen to youth, indigenous wisdom, and scientific warnings. By uniting these voices, we can build an unstoppable movement for change. Let's leave COP30 with more than declarations. Let's leave with renewed purpose and real action. The path is hard, but humanity rises to great challenges. Now is the time to choose unity, not division. Together we can build a safe, just, and healthy future for all.